Warriors, this is your weekly Warrior late night wrap up. We have a lot to get to, so let's get down to business. January is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Now, I, of course, think every month, every week, every day should be National Slavery and Human Trafficking Awareness Day, week, month. However, January is designated, and the history to the month is that in 2010, the president designated January the month for human trafficking. And it stems from the long history of, let me give you a little background. Only in the year 2000, so not even 22 years ago, human trafficking in the United States became against the law. Before that, it was not really recognized. And Representative Chris Smith out of New Jersey created the Trafficking in Persons Act. So just think about that. That's not that long ago. And it all stems from, certainly, think about this, think about history. Abraham Lincoln, 1863, signs the Emancipation Proclamation that, fast forward, 13th Amendment, we shall have no slavery, forced servitude, and it all stems from that. But I think we can all agree, certainly you're here, you're a warrior, that we have more human trafficking going on in the United States today than in any other time of in history, and it's also called modern day slavery. So I want all of us to make the resolution in 2022. We don't have a choice, because this will affect all of us, things I'm going to tell you about tonight, to forget the chocolate, the giving up the alcohol, going to the gym. Those are nice. Do those things anyway. Protect children online. And by that, I mean your children, your grandchildren, your sister or brother's children, your immediate family circles, because this is a national American crisis. Now, National Human Trafficking Awareness Month is designated by the State Department to be globally and domestically. I focus on right here, what's happening in our own backyards. So first of all, I want to ask you a couple of things to help me with, because I need help. And the first thing is knowledge. You have to know what's going on. Now, today was my radio day on WVOX here in New York, and I had a wonderful guest, Rick Lane, who is a tech policy expert in Washington, around the country, and also a child safety advocate. And you can go, I tweeted out the interview, go to linswarriors.org to see the interview and really know 2022 what's happening. Because if you think you couldn't get a handle around what's been going on the last couple of years online, this is something that I'm going to admit, I don't get frightened. This is completely frightening, and I'll be studying up on it and how to help you and your families better. So Rick, I want you to read his incredible bio. Again, go to linswarriors.org. Go and see his background, always working with internet issues, working with Congress, representing clients with tech issues. And he's the CEO and founder. He now has a company called Iggy Ventures, and Iggy, he works on projects and advises for, the greatest impact on society. So he's also an executive producer. He's also a producer on a documentary. He does a lot of different things. So I wanted him to come on to explain when I started. It's not in the media, so I have to share it with you. I started seeing, I wanted Rick to come on the show as a guest to talk always about internet safety. That's his specialty. But then he sent me a couple of articles. And so I want to share that with you. So what we have coming, warriors, Web 3, you might want to call it Web 3.0, whatever, Web 3. And this new web, and again, I'm studying up on it. the best way I can talk about Web3 right now with all this crypto, Web3 is the term being used by all these crypto people and crypto things we're hearing about, and NFTs and things people really can't wrap their minds around. But the best way I can describe this is the internet now will belong to everybody. In other words, Web3 will cut out the middleman. It'll cut out the Facebook. It'll cut out the Twitter. And if you know where to go on the web, you can seize your portion of it. Now just follow along, warriors. We're going to have more on this because everybody's got to get on top of this one. And it will not be controlled. Now you see what we've been going through with Section 230 and Congress and trying to make big tech more safety measures online, and how they've been hiding behind Section 230, which right now grants them complete immunity from any kind of prosecution or responsibility of what is posted online. So you can imagine we already have a dark web if you know where to look. This will actually be normalized and part of society where everybody will have their own Facebook, everybody will have their own Twitter, but your own tech. We know in these spaces that when we have something like this that's out of control, and I'll be posting more online as well to explain this better, but start looking up Web3 or crypto market, Web3, because that crypto market has seized this. And we know when there's no control, we don't have control now online, safety for the kids that we fight for 24/7. Can you imagine what's going to go on? The predation, the sextortion, the trafficking. Remember, wherever the kids are, so are the predators. Remember, the law lags behind technology. So this is overwhelming and dark. And the tech experts I've spoken to in the last couple of days are really, really concerned. This is frightening. Web3, we have to know about it because they're normalizing. Everything's being normalized. Come on, warriors, you know none of this is normal. This whole metaverse, renaming of Facebook and putting out we'll be living in the metaverse and how cool it is, and cool to what? Okay, maybe kids they're going to talk to about it, but can you imagine a child switching between the metaverse, augmented reality to reality? Come on, warriors, get a grip, get a hold. This is not for any of us. It's happening. Only we can control it in our homes and communities, and we have to talk to the kids. Because when I asked Rick Lane today, the tech expert, I said, what would you advise parents? Because that's my number one question. People always say, what do you want? What should I do? What can I do? How can I do it? And he said, just what you're doing, talking about it every day, talking to the kids, communicating, making the kids, and this is something, you know, as far as resolutions go, protecting online, I'm talking children, I'm talking teens, I'm talking our young adults, you know, 30 and under. Everybody needs to know about this. We must make them our partners. We must have open communication. We have to let the kids know we know what's going on online. And I'm telling you, they will feel reassured. And we want them to come to us. You know, it's almost like giving your child a hug. You know, they pull away or they don't want it, so you don't do it. But if you actually did it, they would love it. So I want to tell everybody to give all the children hugs. We have to get in front of this Web3, because when I hear from tech experts and people who work on policy and that they're frightened. So, okay, let's recap. Our resolution for 2022 is we're going to learn more about Web3. And of course, I'll be keeping you posted. Please always follow linswarriors.org. We're going to get a handle on this, start talking to the kids now about it. I actually did post an article. The term Web3 has been seized by the crypto market and internet governance perspective. This is from December 16th, and that is at linswarriors.org. It explains it a little better. Again, I'm studying up on it. Also, our guest, Rick Lane, you know, he had such great information. I have to have him back on the radio program. It's live, so you have limited time. but it was fascinating the way he was explaining things. He's behind also teaching us about keeping digital wallets safe for kids, because as we move to this cashless society, which has been coming in the last decade, it's here. And everybody thinks it's cool to hold up the phone or watch or whatever you're doing to pay for things. At the same time, the predators also are breaking in, on these digital wallets and going after kids and teens and all people. And Rick came up with a company, Rego. It's called Mazoola, Mazoola. It's an app, and it's one of the few designated to really do its job and keep kids safe. So again, you want to start really thinking about, does your child have a digital wallet, or your teen? What's going on there? We talk about safety features and filters on the internet, on the platforms. We have to make sure we put them on apps. So, a lot of kids do by Venmo, or we send them money by Venmo. We have to make sure. So we have Mazoola, and I want everybody to look into that, Mazoola, and issued by our partners, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., a Dignity Defense Alert prize for being such an excellent product. But we also want to go to a company I always recommend called Bark, B-A-R-K. The website is bark.us, because they are a monitoring company, and they monitor over 30 apps and connect your child's phone or gadget or tablet, Google Chromebook, whatever the platform device, to your phone. And there's a free 7-day trial. So warriors, if something's free for 7 days, why wouldn't you try it? It doesn't hurt to try it. It will connect you and notify you. Learn more about that, Bark, BARK.us, because this stuff is just completely going from scary and frightening to, like, I don't want to be punny here, like, out of the universe, things we never would have dreamed of. Got to get on top of it, warriors. I want to remind everybody also that being it's January is Human Trafficking Awareness. It's actually called January is Slavery and Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And I might refer to it as Human Trafficking Awareness Month for shorthand, but I guess I should throw the slavery in as well. What can you do? How can you participate? Now, we have some good and some bad news. Let me get the bad news out of the way first. So for the month of January, I had a slew of events here in New York City and New York State, designated live events for you, the public, to attend. And I was giving also some speeches, and I didn't advertise them per se because of Omicron. As far as back in early December, now everybody was busy with the holidays. Everything seemed to be moving along early December, but I still heard about Omicron. Plus, I'm not going to advertise, come to this January 16th when everybody's thinking about the holidays. So I thought, okay, let me just play this out, keep everything going. And once we hit January 1st, if we're open, because I was hearing some rumblings that after the new year, New York would kind of shut down as far as live events. That was another thing in the back of my mind. I didn't think it would happen the week before Christmas, which is exactly when it happened, because I had a lot of events I was going to, and they were all canceled, parties and things like that. So, warriors, as soon as we get the all clear here in New York, I will announce, we will reschedule, we will do our best. It's been a rough almost 2 years now, but we're doing it, warriors. I do want to get out there and do more workshops, speeches, but here in New York, they shut us down. So stay tuned for that. So that's the bad news. Actually, there's a little bit more bad news. So our new Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, put out a statement yesterday that he will not be arresting and prosecuting for low-level crimes, including some sex crimes. Now, I looked far and wide to see what the some sex crimes. There was no clear definition. Now, we know these policies from these DAs across the country have not worked in places like Baltimore and Philadelphia, Chicago, San Francisco. They're not going to work here. It is very upsetting that, what they consider low-level theft. The shop owners are putting out statements today. They've already been brutalized over the last, year here because all the changes and bail reforms and all of that, warriors. And now they're in fear that if somebody comes in their, small mom and pop shop uptown or something or downtown, and they steal $500 worth of goods, they don't go to jail. They don't get anything. Wow. This makes no sense. Come on. We all know this. We really know what this is all about. But I want to get back to DA Alvin Bragg. The Warriors is part of a group here in New York called New Yorkers for the Equality Model. And I want all of you to go to that website, equalitymodelnewyork.org. And what we propose, we are countering the full decriminalization of the sex trade. The bottom line for that in New York State, and it will come to your state because it's pending. It was around the country prior to the pandemic. Then we had the pandemic. It's heating up again. I'm talking about my home state of New York right now, but it's there in other states waiting. They're waiting to see, from what I hear, what happens in New York. What it will be the legalization of pimps and traffickers and brothel owners and sex buyers and anyone, illicit spa owners. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of that. I get reports coming to me, people contacting me about things. Law enforcement knows it. They don't have enough manpower. They don't have enough resources. They're defunded. It's hard. And you know all this. I don't have to sit here and tell you this. So our hands are tied. So our group, Equality Model New York, actually a couple of months back, before DA Alvin Bragg actually, was elected, was in the running, I guess, in the running. The group had a meeting with him to explain what the Sex Trade Justice and Survivors Act is, and that is our bipartisan bill countering this pro-sex trade pimp lobby. Did you know in New York there's a pimp lobby? I kid you not. It's the truth. And the argument that, a trans person has no other real way to make a living or be safe. They have to be a sex worker. Well, we first of all don't believe in that term, sex worker. These are prostituted people. But society, literature, media, entertainment, all of it seeping in. As a matter of fact, one of our Warriors board members told me the other day that she's a soap opera fan and watches, there's only a couple of them left, but watches soap operas. And in one particular soap opera, they keep referring to this one character as a sex worker. And then they have Pretty Woman touring around the country. It was on Broadway, pre-pandemic, closed. That's another one. There's no such thing as a pretty woman because there's always a pimp or a trafficker in the background watching 99.99% of the time. And we are talking, warriors, vulnerable girls and women. We're not talking call girls or anything you think, this Julia Roberts type shopping on Rodeo Drive. We are talking little girls, little boys too, and teens. And he did not DA elect. Is that what you call him? While he was running, Alvin Bragg, want to even hear our side of the story about what's going to happen if there's a full decrim bill. It means nobody goes to jail. And no good. So I need all of you, go to the website, Equality Model New York, and read the bill overview of what we propose to counter this horror. And I want to remind you, warriors, that the demand is for children. Let's be real here. And I hear they're already coming in from all over the country, warehousing kids in certain places, waiting for this to be passed. So can you imagine children, precious children, babies? What? None of this is normal. And you know this. So go to that website, equalitymodelnewyork.org, read the bill overview, the points of the bill, what it entails. It's an easy read. Everybody should read it, especially if you're in New York, but as anybody should read it because it's coming. It's coming to your state. I'm telling you. And there's a sign on which asks for your name and zip code if you're in New York, and email, because we are revving up to, march on with all these signatures, names, and fight it to the bitter end. Because I want to remind you, the demand is for children. And when I have a 16 or a 17-year-old girl come to me and look at me and tell me they've aged out of the sex trade, that they want younger and younger. Horrific, horrific. So we have to have, there's none of this is good. That's why we have to be warriors. We have to keep just going and going and going. And that's where you can help, because even just adding your name, equalitymodelnewyork.org, if you're in New York with your zip code. So I have another name to present with our group. We're not going to give you flyers and all this stuff. We just need actual people who live in New York. Okay. But I do want everybody to read what this bill entails, equality model, because it's the same for everybody. That's a take action. I want all of you Web3. That's a take action. Learn more, look it up. Again, I'll post this article and you can read about it. And also kids' digital wallets. These are take actions. Make sure you talk to your child. I mean, predators are breaking in on Venmo. Who can keep up with this? Because it changes on a daily basis. And also our good friend Chris McKenna, protectyoungeyes.com, which is all about families and internet safety. I give out Protect Young Eyes every single day. Excellent. Chris did his most recent blog, 5 Digital Trends for 2022, and you're going to want to look at that. He'll break it down in a nutshell. Again, if you spend 5 minutes, it's all it takes to read these things, and then it sticks in your mind. Why wouldn't you do it? So I want all of you to look at that. And I want to bring to your attention, what can you do for Slavery and Human Trafficking Awareness Month? Well, if you're here, you're following the warriors, that's a big step. I want all of you, are you signing up for the newsletter? Go to the website, linswarriors.org, scroll down on the right side, a great newsletter. They go out weekly. Tuesday, usually Tuesday or Wednesdays. I actually sent it out Monday this week because it's a very, very busy week. I have some warrior travel coming up very early in the morning, and it's late already here, and a lot going on. But what can you do? January 11th is designated as Awareness Day. And there's a great campaign. Now just hear me out here. Go to the website, dhs.gov, Blue Campaign. Department of Homeland Security has put together a wonderful campaign. They've had it for the last several years now. dhs.gov, Blue Campaign. Remember, blue, just like my virtual background, is the color of human trafficking. And on January 11th, it's one day where you can hashtag Wear Blue Day, or January 11th is Blue Day. But if you want, warriors, send me your picture. You just put on anything blue. Like right now, I have a blue earring on. Hashtag it, Wear Blue Day on January 11th. You send it to me. I'll put it on the Warriors website. I'll certainly be posting some pictures with the hashtag. It's kind of just a little peppy, every day should be Wear Blue Day, but it kind of just brings the community together, and a lot of schools rally around this and do activities across the country. It brings together nonprofits and organizations. We have one day where everybody's tweeting about it. Remember, getting eyes and ears on anything is, I know I'm a broken record, but that's the beginning of it. You have to know this is happening. You have to know what's going on. You have to take control in your own home. Look what I'm talking to you about, a digital wallet, a Web3 that's out there somewhere, but in our backyard. And the month we're we're talking about human trafficking awareness when this should definitely be, uh, it's just right now not a top priority. I don't really think, this is just me saying this for our government right now. I don't see it happening. We've got so much going on the border with children and sex trafficking, and I don't hear anybody discussing it. Once in a while I see something, but I've been so busy, and I realize that any cable news channel, I'd rather be online and have some vetted resources. I don't want to hear them. I don't want to see them laughing. I don't want to see a lot of ridiculous rhetoric. It's 2022. Take action time. And we don't have time for people sitting around and laughing in the morning or at night. Or there's some good points out there, but then where do they go? What, like this border thing, everybody should be talking about nonstop. Again, I focus on our country pretty much. What about the girls, the women in Afghanistan that were abandoned? Horrors going on there. Nobody's talking about that. So we got to focus. We got to be warriors right here, right in our own trusted family circles, communities. And you have to share the information, with other moms you may know or grandmoms. I got some great notes. A shout out to, I don't think she'll mind. I don't ever use last names or anything, but Kimberly sharing information, and that keeps me encouraged. I had a friend, acquaintance call me from Chicago to say she follows everything. I'm empowering people. I'm talking about it. That gave me energy to carry on. But I want all of you to be warriors. And I know you're all busy, and I know I do this, exclusively almost 24/7 with other things I do, but I'm that passionate coming from an entertainment background, working in production and strategy and PR. Like who's doing all this for this subject matter? And again, there are a lot of good people, but I feel like it's too big, it's too overwhelming, it's not being broken down, got to get in that home. And I'm very concerned about this Web3. I mean, that is just it's here. So we're going to deal with it. That's what we're going to do, because we're warriors. And I want to give you a couple of other things. When I put the glasses on, I want to make sure I refer to my notes. And also, I have tired eyes. So there's an updated emoji guide that came out. Now, emojis, you all know, are those little pictures. We all, little laughing faces, or you know what an emoji is. So the kids apparently started their own emoji language, and very sexual in nature. So while mom and dad or grandma thinks the cucumber or apple is a cute little picture, the kids will have no no words. It'll be all pictures. A lot of these emojis mean other things. And I've brought this up before, but on January 3rd, our good friends again from Bark, BARK.US, put out an updated emoji slang guide for parents. And it will help you understand what the kids are doing online. And you can talk to them about it openly and honestly, because you know what's going on. And don't worry, like Bark has you covered. Protect Young Eyes has you covered. The Warriors, we have you covered. So look at that emoji guide. And also, I want to remind you again, Chris McKenna, Protect Young Eyes, his 5 digital trends, because he is on target with saying that these new digital trends, now listen to this, Warriors, will target kids with more porn, predators, and problems. And 2 of the 5 are extremely complex. And I mentioned Web3, that's one of them. And nobody's talking about these. And the lawmakers, I got to tell you, they don't understand it. Members of Congress. So we had the great series of the Facebook hearings and the Twitter and the Snap and Instagram. But if the lawmakers themselves don't understand actually, they're voting on something, what this is. So it's our jobs. Also, a lot of the work of the Warriors and others, we educate people about what all this means. Because I guarantee you right now, if I went up to members of Congress, all of them, and said, what's Web3? What's Web3? What's Web3? I'd have to say 99 don't know what I'm talking about. I would have to say it's not their fault because it's not in the media. They're not studying up like we're studying up, warriors, and they're voting on things to change laws, and we're also working on a lot of enforcing of existing laws and more prosecutions, because that has to happen at the federal level with these people all around us. So we have that. We had some good news on December. Let's see. This was actually announced on January 2nd. It was an operation that took place mid-October until about December 17th, where we had 5 missing teenage girls found, 30 sex offenders arrested in New Orleans. And there was a girl as young as 12 there. Most of the girls were between 14 and 17, but there was a 12-year-old. And so 30 sex offenders, and a lot of them repeat offenders, let out. These DAs, look what's happening. But you know what? 5 girls were found. So remember, if we find 1 child a day, that's good news. So we had that happening. And I don't even want to mention her name, Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to see the bigger picture. We all know she was convicted last week, about a week ago. Yes, it was actually a week ago, December 29th. Convicted 5 of the 6 counts. We know about all of this. I did see a headline today. Again, I was busy with the radio program and helping people, something about her family, something about they want a new trial. But we'll see about that. We don't have a date for sentencing per se yet, so that should be coming. It's usually down the pike a little bit, a couple of months, but no word on that so far, unless it happened in the last hour and I didn't hear about it or get a headline, a text about it or something, a press release. So we had that happen. But what I want to know about this case, it's very quiet. And I brought this up last week. So where are all the other people? Many are complicit. Many flew on that Lolita Express. We don't ever talk about all the men on that plane. We don't ever talk about the ranch, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. We don't talk about people like Les Wexner, and we don't talk about people like Bill Richardson and Andrew. Not sure what's going to happen there, but he'll probably be protected some way, shape, or form. So I want to hear, it's not, Ghislaine's not the end of all of this. Like, I want to hear more. I want to know where all the other complicit people are. So we'll leave that for now, but nothing's over with that case in my mind. It's only beginning, warriors. So we have that. I want to also remind you, and I do post these on Twitter and Facebook. There are a lot of good free, now, of course, they're all on Zooms, back to Zooms already, but different organizations in New Jersey, in New York, across the country that have, you can register for free and listen in. For instance, on January 11th, I am going to be listening to our good friend Taina Bename, who is the executive director of the Coalition Against Trafficking in Women. And she's one of our equality, New Yorkers for the Equality members. She's part of the group, and she's a panelist, and also Christiane Twala from ECPAT. And although it's New York, devoted, it's about taking action. Remember, in some shape or form, we all have to take action. This isn't just, I almost feel like, and I'm not trying to make this sound cutesy, but it's like, we get up, we brush our teeth and eat breakfast and go to work or school. Like something with human trafficking, education, something has to be part of our lives. It has to be, you have to know what to do if you see something. You have to know, what if somebody came to you, what to do, what steps to take, keeping handy phone numbers ready, always 911 if imminent danger. But we know with the police, there are places reporting back to me that 911, they're not coming fast enough. We've got a human trafficking hotline. Sometimes they don't respond fast enough. So you have to know what to do. These are emergency situations. They wait for nothing. You have to know indicators, signs. So right now, I don't want to overwhelm you because it's dark, it's ugly, it's overwhelming, but it's here. I want to leave you with, participate in National Slavery and Human Trafficking Awareness Month. It's January. It's a new year, warriors. Put the old year behind us. Let's not go back there. Let's keep forging ahead. make this commitment, this resolution that we will protect children online. We all have to play a part in that. And we will take this very seriously. And I don't want to just, okay, this one's arrested, that one did this one. No, we've got to, that's all happening in every town, city, and rural area in America, the predation. On top of that, I want us taking action in 2022 and intervening and preventing new victims. Remember, an image online, a nude image, is a form of human trafficking. If that is sent to another person, it travels. Anything that travels, think like that. It's a human trafficking. And then that person retweets it or shares it, and you'll never get that image back. And then you'll have sextortion. That's forcing somebody, against their will. Images online, dialogues online, things online. So we have a lot to cover in the new year. I know we can do it. I also must mention we have to also default to safety now. That I've completely borrowed, and they don't mind because I asked them, from our good friend protectyoungeyes.com, Chris McKenna, and also the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C., our partners. Because just think, if you buy at any time a tech gadget as a gift, or at any time, and you buy a phone, a tablet, a lot of kids, especially during COVID, were doing their school on Google Chrome. We want all of these tech manufacturers and companies, we want the devices to default to safety, be handed over, defaulted to safety, because everything is being left on the educators, everything is being left on the parents. Another comment I get constantly is, oh, it's so difficult to understand the directions and how to do the safety filters and how to do monitoring. Well, that's where I might recommend that we are continuing our policy work on urging these companies to immediately give out, for instance, the Google Chrome, the tablet will already be defaulted to safety. So nobody has to worry about doing it, okay? Because people were going crazy during COVID. They didn't know how to do it. Kids were doing their lessons. Pornography was popping up. Kids were able to easily access porn. All kinds of things were going on. We had, just to share with you, 11 years it took. But Google finally, as of September 1st, all of their manufactured new items, Google Chrome, were going to come loaded default to safety. And they were supposed to they did send out a software update if you had an older device program where they would update all of this for you. So that is a major success. Did you hear about it in the media? Of course not. You didn't hear about it. And we're still after them. We're upset with Apple. Well, who's not? But they promised they were going to start blurring for children 13 and under, if you had the family plan and signed up for this, that they would blur nude images either your child received or they were trying to send, and it would alert the parent or the trusted, caretaker. And that sounded good. And then they took away alerting the parent or trusted caretaker, but they would still blur the nude image. Again, you would be on a family plan or sign up for this. For 13 and under, I actually think the age should be raised, don't you? A little older, how about 17 and under, because 18 is a legal adult. But this makes no sense, warriors. The child, the 13 and under, would get to decide. It'd be a blurred image. They get a notification. Whatever that notification says can contain, disturbing images or sexual in nature. I'm not sure what wording they were going to use. But then that child could make the decision to, let me click on this and see if I want to view it. Or I'll go tell mom or dad what's going on. Now, come on, warriors. Most kids, they're going to click on it. So we had a lot of uproar and a lot of fight back and a lot of this. What's the point of this? This is ridiculous. Now we got the argument from Apple. Well, children exploring their sexuality might be outed, and their parents, it would be a worse outcome for them in the home than the image. Long story short, they got rid of the whole thing. They're reneged. There's no, but they made a big splashy when all these congressional hearings were going on and tech safety for kids. And a couple of months ago, they were doing this and it was in all the news and it sounded great and everybody's retweeting. And you know what? Nothing came of it. Again, Warriors 2022, protect children online. And I want to leave you with, let's see if I missed anything else. Oh, again, I mentioned that January 11th that you could sign up. Please go to linswarriors.org where I post these things, or they're on the newsletter free. I mean, right here. This is from the Brooklyn Queens National Organization of Women. And this is their third discussion about trafficking. It's anybody can participate. We talk about a lot of New York kind of things, but the information applies all over. So I would recommend to go to linswarriors.org and look for this and remind you, wear Blue Day. It's not silly. At least it's one day where we can all say we did something. Hashtag Wear Blue Day. And before we leave, one other good bit of information that a great big warrior thanks goes out to Indiana Representative Wendy McNamara, who authored a bill. She is the chair of the House Courts and Criminal Code Committee, and she authored a bill to allow young victims to provide recorded video statements instead of physically testifying in a courtroom where they're scared and they're forced to relive their trauma. Not only does she believe this will protect young victims, she believes more will come forth and talk about and testify against their perpetrators. And I think it's a wonderful thing. This is about kids. I already can hear in the back of my head, and I will keep you posted on all of this. I can already hear certain people saying, well, you can't, cross-examine a video. But we're going to leave it for now because this would be a wonderful thing for children. Can you imagine testifying in court against your perpetrator? And we'll talk more about restorative justice, which I've mentioned here. I am in fear with our new Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, who already is following in the footsteps of San Francisco and Philadelphia. Low-level crimes, some sex crimes. That was the exact quote, but I don't know which sex crimes. Nothing's listed. What does that even mean? All sex crimes need to be prosecuted and looked at and taken care of. So warriors, you've got some homework. It's January. It's a new year. We can do this. I want to thank you again for all of your support and all of your encouragement. We're going to be bigger and better, and we're not going to let things like Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg stop us, or Omicron, or Flu-Rona, or any of those things that are coming down the pike. We're going to take care of our kids, take care of our families, and protect them and each other. You know why? Because we're warriors.